it's so interesting to me that, I mean, you have African-American men in academia, and just every other day, just sit back and watch these things happen. That's why it's been so powerful and impactful for me in my own life to actually see these barbers stepping up. How does that make you feel watching how this movement is slowly but surely getting its own legs?
We have to take responsibility for the lives of our children. As a father, as a black man, I take it upon myself to be the difference maker, right? To be the agent of change. So I can't passively sit back and watch the news and see day after day the violence playing out in our communities, in our schools, and do nothing. We've lost an ethos of collective work and responsibility, right? We've lost a sense of unity in our community, and I think we have to revive that, and we have to come together to solve problems.
Right.
And gun violence is one of the most important and urgent challenges of our time.
Welcome back to the Barbers Against Bullets podcast. We are here. I am Sayram Selassie and
Kamerana Kairu.
Yes, sir. And we are here to dive deep into this issue right here at Pooh's Barbershop. And before I jump into it, I mean, we go way, way back. This is the only black man that I know personally that graduated from Harvard. I say that again, with a doctorate in African and African-American studies. And it's so very important that I like to say, look, what we're trying to do with this initiative, let's bring the streets and the streets of colleges back together the way in which it used to be. And brother, you are the spitting image of what that represents. You already have done so much community work. I mean, what does this mean to you even moving forward, man, and in your own personal career?
Yeah, well, thank you. First of all, it's an honor,
yes, sir,
to have a chance to work with you on this this project. For me, having had a lot of experience in high school education as well as in higher ed, I've always been focused on applied research, and I've been very fortunate to have an opportunity to design and develop and implement programs that really take the academic research and use it to create intervention programs and that really make a difference in the lives of people in the community. And so the issue of gun violence, as we all know, is truly an epidemic problem in this country. And it's something that we simply have to figure out. So, Barbers Against Bullets is more than an anti-violence campaign. Right. It is a programmatic movement to create beloved communities. And in the spirit of and the legacy of Reverend Dr. King being here in Alabama, which was so central in the civil rights movement, I just keep coming back to the point that he made about forging beloved communities, addressing the evils of militarism and materialism and racism, and really looking in the mirror and finding a way to elevate our mindset, our consciousness, so that we can create the kind of communities that our children deserve.
That's
because
right.
We haven't done that today.
So he also said our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that really matter.
That's right.
And again, I go back to this. It's so interesting to me that, I mean, you have African-American men in academia, and just every other day, just sit back and watch these things happen. That's why it's been so powerful and impactful for me in my own life to actually see these barbers stepping up. What does that mean to you based upon all the movements that you've seen, the civil rights movement, the SCLC, all these different organizations, even Rainbow Push with Jesse Jackson? I mean, how does that make you feel watching how this movement is slowly but surely getting its own legs?
Yeah, well, I think, we have to take responsibility for the lives of our children. And as a man, as a father, as a black man, I take it upon myself to be the difference maker, right? To be the agent of change. So I can't passively, sit back and watch, the news and see day after day the violence playing out in our communities, in our schools, everywhere you go, and do nothing. right? Because that's an abdication of my responsibility as a man, not only to my children, but to our children, right? Because we have to have a mentality that we are one. And in the Zulu tradition, in South Africa, there's a term called Ubuntu, which means I am because we are. And it's about the oneness of humanity. Yeah. And I think we've lost that ethic. We've lost an ethos of collective work and responsibility, right? We've lost a sense of unity in our community. And I think we have to revive that. And we have to come together to solve problems. Right. And gun violence is one of the most important and urgent challenges of our time.
But what about the loss of hope, brother? What about those who may hear about Barbers Against Bullets and be like, oh, ain't nothing gonna change. They ain't gonna do this, they ain't gonna do that. But what about that sense of hopelessness? How would you respond to that, or what message would you give to people?
Well, it's easy to be cynical. There's plenty of things we can look outside. Oh, it's not gonna change. The system is rigged, all the things that we can look to and point to and become apathetic. And just give in to cynicism, give in to the numbness, right? But I think that's just a cop-out. It's easy. Anyone can just give up, right? I think we have a responsibility to do better for ourselves and for each other. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I think, listen, we all struggle with it. We all do experience a kind of depression, a hopelessness, even a kind of nihilism, right? That can set in when you're just constantly being traumatized and re-traumatized by the scourge of gun violence in this country. But listen, you can curse the darkness, or you can light a match. And I think that Barbers Against Bullets is one way in which we are trying to shine light into that darkness. And to address and solve problems.
Speaking of that match, man, that we are lighting, again, we just want to start the flame, but let the barbers, those ambassadors, be the ones to stoke it. Your job dealing with this program right now, or this movement, is to look at forming an actual curriculum, something I've never heard of being done for barbershops in particular. What does that mean to you, and what type of impact do you think it could have?
Well, education is a vital part of the solution to the problem of gun violence, because, and the reason that I've dedicated my life to education is because I realized that things don't really change until you begin to elevate the consciousness of people. So the reason I'm an educator is because I want to evolve human consciousness. I want to contribute to getting people to think differently, to see themselves differently, to see the world differently, to shift the paradigm, and then begin to reimagine the world and create a better one. But that begins with education. And unfortunately, we're trained, but we're not really educated. Right. You know what I'm saying? And I think education doesn't just happen in the classroom, right? It comes from experience. It comes from sharing and learning from other people. But in all those various forms, it's key to beginning to get people to think differently, because everything begins in the mind. Everything is a thought that eventually can become a reality in the physical world. But if we don't learn to think differently and see differently, then we won't create the kind of communities that we ultimately want. I think we all really want to live in safe environments. Nobody wants to send their child to school and worry about whether or not they're going to see them again.
Absolutely.
Nobody wants to go to church and worry about being shot. No one wants to go to the store or to a concert or to a barbershop and worry that they might not survive. So, I think we just have to begin to really question the social conditions that we're in, ask ourselves why things are the way they are, why things are happening, and then do that root cause analysis. But that requires us marshaling the tools and creating a mechanism to provide greater insight, greater understanding and awareness so that we can make better decisions. And that's what the Barbers and Bullets curriculum is going to do.
Absolutely, brother. Well, we become what we think about. We can't thank you enough, and we can't wait to have you back in Alabama all the way from Maryland to really do this important work. So thank you, man.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.